So as you do come first gear, 2,500 revs, there's the torque, wheels are spinning, into third. What's up guys? So today you join me from the driver's seat of a 2001 BMW E46 330D. Now I've had a lot of comments from people asking to bring more diesels to the channel, especially ones that have been performance enhanced like this one. I think this is a good start because these are, you know, relatively cheap these days, and I think you can pick them up pretty easily. Now this is a 330 diesel, so it's a 3-litre turbo diesel engine in this 3 Series. It is a 5-speed manual gearbox, and as standard they produce around 200 brake horsepower. Now this one's had a couple of modifications done to the engine. It's had a stage 2 remap, it's had an EGR Delete, and it's had a back box delete and a Vortec turbo breather on it. So now it's running 260 brake horsepower at around 430 foot-pound of torque. Now 430 foot-pound of torque is the bit I'm interested in. Now I'm really intrigued to see what the diesel side of, you know, modifying and stuff is all about. I've personally looked into it and I really like the idea of a fast diesel at the end of the day. I want to see what a 260 brake horsepower, 430 foot-pound of torque, 3 Series diesel is like to drive down a B road. Now I think this car especially is very obtainable to me. It's one of those cars that everybody can achieve, I think, especially with the price they are at the moment. You know, these are 1,500, 2,000, you know, maybe a little bit more for a low mileage one that you want. I think this is one of those cars that is a good footprint for the whole diesel performance side of modifying. The fact that this car produces that sort of torque figure and brake horsepower figure, but is still doing 42.1 mpg, speaks to me. Now that is, especially in the UK, a bloody good thing, because, you know, petrol and diesel prices are very expensive over here. So anything that's going to save you money in the long run will be quite nice, but you get the flip side of a fast, torquey car at the same time. Now this is a base car. It's actually quite high spec in my opinion. It's got the Harman Kardon sound system. It's got the sort of sand colour leather interior. It's got a rear sun blind, so you can pop that up and down at the back, which is pretty cool. I've never been in a 3 Series that's got one of them, so to me that's pretty cool. The coilovers are just right. They give a good feel through the corners, and they're comfy enough through, you know, poodling through town. Now this being the 5-speed manual, I think a lot of people are going to want that. They don't really want the automatic. So when you are in second gear, your B road's in front of you. The thing that gets me about this car, you can be in relatively any gear and punch it. So second gear, 2,500 revs. There's the torque. Traction control comes in. And the speedo climbs at an alarming rate. I've driven a couple of E46s in my time. No M3s, unfortunately, but that gives me a good perspective, I think, to the ones underneath the M3. So the 3-litre naturally aspirated 330i that I drove around a year ago now, this is a damn sight quicker than that car. Traction control kicking in. And she's blacking everywhere. It's like a pool of black smoke behind me. Do you know, it surprises you, this car. That's what it is. You think, oh, the torque. A 3 Series with a diesel engine. Nothing to write home about, let's be honest. You know, you don't think that it's gonna, has the power and the torque to really push you in the back of your seat. The torque is the bit that baffles me. You know, you have the brake horsepower figure, don't get me wrong, but when it comes on, the torque is so strong that it sort of surprises you through the gear. So as you do come first gear, 2,500 revs, there's the torque, wheels are spinning, Sort of when you go through the gear and you sort of tip into the next one, it sort of has a little pause of where the torque isn't quite there yet, and then it just does that. So it's around 2.5 to 3,000 revs, and it revs out to 4.5. So you've got a good, you know, 2,000 revs-ish. It's a bit weird feeling, because obviously if you don't drive diesels all the time and you jump in one that's got, you know, 430 foot-pound of torque, that's the bit you're going to feel. You're going to feel how torquey the car is when you're banging through the rev and through the gear. So as you're doing, you know, 40 mile an hour in 4th gear, drop it down, you're in torque straight away. And even at the speed limit in 3rd gear, the wheels at the back are trying to spin, which says a lot, doesn't it, really? It's only a diesel 3 series, yeah, and it'll rip your bloody face off, let's be honest. So guys, let's have a quick look around this 2001 BMW E46 330 diesel. Now firstly, I must point out that the E46, in my opinion, has aged really well. This still looks very contemporary looking, although it's a 17-year-old car now. It still looks very good looking, and I really like the fact that these E46s can get away with being ageless. You put, you know, a private plate on it like this one, and you wouldn't really tell the difference if it was a 2001 or a 2006 model, you know, the last generation of the E46. Now, this being the M Sport model, it does have a couple of bits that, you know, a usual E46 wouldn't have. So coming around at the front, we have these projector HID headlights as stand. We have these black kidney grills at the front. This one, also being an M Sport, has sort of a little lip at the bottom there. It has the M Sport wheels of this E46 generation. Coming round though, for a 17-year-old car, it is unbelievably clean. Really is one of the cleanest E46s I've seen. A lot of these seem to suffer with a lot of sort of rot and rust on the arches. That's a big thing to watch for these. Coming around the back, you have the back box delete just down there. It gives a very good sound to the car, sort of like a petrol-y feel, but no drone, which is quite nice. There's not a lot of drone in this car, which is a big thing. Back box deletes usually drone like mad. As an M Sport, you get this little lip spoiler at the back. You get more of a defined bumper. You have the parking sensors at the bottom. Jumping inside, you're met with this lovely looking sand coloured interior, which I'm a huge fan of. These seats, very supportive. I do really like the colour combo from the sort of blue outside of the paint and then the sand coloured interior. And I've got to admit, this is my favourite part, this button down here. I think that's what we're going to call the dogging option. It also has the upgraded Harman Kardon sound system from standard, so you've got the tweeters in there, you've got speakers in the doors going round, and then you've got a sub in the boot. And it's got an armrest. And coming back up front, you've got the BC Racing Coilovers. So yeah, all in all, I think this is a fantastic example of a E46 diesel. These are ridiculously cheap now, in my opinion. And when I used to look at them, they were a lot more than the petrols. But now you can pick these up for, you know, £1,500, £2,000. With these sort of mods as well, you can get one of this sort of spec and, you know, modifications list for that cheap. And I think insurance wise, for the younger driver, I think the diesel is probably the better one to go with. To me, not only have you got the power, you've got the well-spec'd car, especially in this one, but you've got the fantastic MPG and probably a lower insurance cost as well. So first gear, 2,500 revs, just slides all over the place. Look at the really is something to match a petrol engine. This, it's really is that fast, in my opinion. It throws you in the back of the seat. So when you are B-road bashing like we are now, 30 mile an hour in second gear, don't get me wrong, you have to drive this in a way to get the most out of it. Don't get me wrong, that's definitely something that a petrol and a diesel engine will differ, is the way you drive. If you pick the right gear, so say with 40 mile an hour, you can blip up 2,000 revs and there's the torque straight away. The car also handles absolutely fantastically on the BC Racing Coilovers. Whee! Traction control is on for a reason. Saving lives, that's what it is, saving lives. The fact that it's doing still 42 mpg, although I'm giving it absolute hell, it's still doing 42 mpg. Do you know what I find really crazy about this car? The fact that you're able to blip it. Now, obviously a diesel is slow revving. It's a slow revving car, that's what diesels are. But this one, you can sort of blip, and it is so fast, like a petrol engine. So 2.5 revs again. And it makes a good sound as well. It doesn't sound like a diesel, it sounds like, you know, a modified petrol car, if I'm honest. So the noise coming out the back of it sounds like a petrol, but it goes like a diesel, and it has the MPG figure of a diesel. Win-win, let's be honest. So what are my overall thoughts on this car? Well, I'm very, very impressed with it, if I'm honest. The value for money is here, that's my thing. The value for money in buying this diesel E46 BMW is there. Not only are you getting 40 mpg plus, you've got the power to back it up if you want to have a little bit of fun. You've got the manual 5-speed gearbox. You've got a fantastically equipped car with everything you could ever want. And I think as a day-to-day car, this currently is sat on 170,000 miles, and I know that's going to scare a lot of people, but it shouldn't. This car was built for that in mind. These diesel BMWs, in my opinion, are built to last, and the fact that this one is pushing more brake horsepower than it was from the factory, and it's sat on that mileage, says a lot about this car. And the fact that it drives like a brand new car, it boosts like it hasn't done anywhere near that mileage. This is why you buy these cars, is because they last forever, they're great value for money, and you get what you want out of the car. You know, you get an economical, fast, 4-door, practical car that you can use on a daily basis. So guys, I'd like to thank you all for watching. Remember, head over to fydapparel.com, go grab yourself a t-shirt or a hat to support the channel. Make sure you like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you all on the next video. Cheers guys.